When you're watching The Corpse Bride, this is one of those feel good movies that's like, I have to say, Tim Burton knows how to really has a beautiful style. I think that it fits the whole aesthetic of the movie is beautiful, it's dark, but it's hopeful, you know what I mean? Amidst all the gray and all of the dark colors and they make real life so gloomy, so dark, so black and white and gray, and then they make death seem so colorful and exciting and different, you know what I mean? It's so in your face, and I think it's just one of those fun movies for the whole family, you know what I mean? I think Corpse Bride is so lovable because it deals with love, but it's also because it's characters that ever since I first watched it, I guess I kind of related, I really understood and I liked the whole premise, you know what I mean? I like the whole idea of love and romance and everything happening kind of quickly. I think that's really cute and romantic, and this movie just reminds me of all of the good that can come about from just meeting somebody and getting flustered around them or being nervous and shy around them, and then coming to know them and figuring out that you really like this person and this is somebody that you would like to get to know more and more and more. And I think this movie is in such a unique position where it shows us romance is still alive even after death, you know what I mean? The bride herself, the corpse bride, she is dead, okay? But she still has that longing for love, she still wants somebody to be her husband, you know what I mean? Somebody to hold and to be with. And it's an eternal. Because she's dead, it's eternal. Because she is a bride and never got to be a wife, she kind of got married and died, and she didn't really get to live a life as a wife, you know what I mean? She didn't get to experience the full capacity of love, the full longevity of it. But she does get a moment of true love, a moment of true happiness, a chance for her to express her feelings and put her feelings into somebody worthy of that love, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Somebody who deserves her love, not just some, evil lord, whoever, Lord Barkis. I just think that throughout the course of the movie, we see her want love, and then we see her at the end of the movie, she shows what other kind of love can be, right? That love is not just romantic, it's also giving and compassionate and sharing, She understands that by killing by killing the one that she truly loves, she's really taking away his whole life. She's taking away so much of what he has, you know what I mean? It's not fair for her to take it all. Is it selfish to marry somebody is it selfish to want somebody? Sure, It's a little bit selfish, but it's at the same time it's like when you find love, you gotta hold on to it. Love itself can be a bit selfish, you know what I mean? When you give things, when you take things, right? But it's the back and forth that's the main part. But when she decides at the end of the movie, when Emily, when she decides to she wants to let Victor live because she doesn't want to take from somebody else what she lost. You know what I mean? And her story is tragic. It's very tragic. You know, she didn't get to experience life to the fullest, but she did for that night. Truly, she truly got to understand love and all of its glory, I guess. She did get to experience somebody who was kind to her, somebody who was willing to give up their own life to spend it with her, somebody who was willing to be a part of her life and to hold her and to give her all of the things that she kind of wanted and craved. She got to have that, and that was beautiful. And I really liked that part of it where she got to have a glimpse of it. She got to, she at least saw that there was somebody out there that would be willing to do that for her. And then she kind of told herself that, like, I can't take it from them or from him because he deserves life. He deserves a long life. And because of that, he should keep on living, And then she's set free, Her love was able to release her binds of the bride, so to speak, and just let her be Emily, And in her love, she also gives love to somebody else, like Victoria. She gives her the opportunity to be a bride, to be a wife to Victor, to really have them. She just gives him and her the real blessing of a marriage, And I think that's a beautiful thing. It's a important thing to keep in mind that marriage is, it is beautiful. It is such a nice thing to have. And everything that can kind of go wrong with relationships nowadays, it's a nice reminder when I watch this movie that, like, no matter what, it's still nice to have somebody to live it, But I guess the movie also shows us that romance isn't over after death, right? Like, death will do you part, but you know what I mean? Who knows what happens next, right? You could still find love out there. You could turn into a giant tiger afterwards, you know what I mean? We don't know, but I think for the movie's sake, I just want to enjoy the idea that after death, you know what I mean? It's fun and colorful and full of bones and spiders and different kind of bugs and such to hang out with and to make friends with, you know what I mean? And I gotta tell you, the music in this movie, it's fantastic, really good stuff. I thought that the music was really fun and it had like a good feel to it. It was really beautiful when Victor plays and Emily plays and they kind of have that little moment where they're at the piano, right? It's so pretty, it floats up in your head and in the air. It's very cute. And I think that's what this movie really is. It's a cute horror movie. You know what I mean? I mean, not really horror, but it's kind of like, it has that dark feel to it. Do you know what I mean? It's not like, stylistically, it's dark. Well, maybe I should say more Halloween-esque, right? It's more of that feel to it. I thought they were very creative with the bones creating like the different instruments like drums or guitars and stuff, like they would use each other's bones for it. I thought that was really funny. And I think throughout the whole movie, the movie can be, at times, it can be like, how should I say it? It kind of feels like it's the decision it's the choice between life and death. You know what I mean? It's like choosing to die for the one you love, or loving someone, or dying to live for someone, right? Like there's that duality of like death and love and death, right? That balance each other out, and that makes this whole thing so much more special. It makes it so unique and fun to play with that idea of like, you know, you have somebody who's willing to die for you, somebody whose love for you is going to be in death. You know what I'm saying? The bond of death is what's going to unite you in holy matrimony, and then, you know, living and dying to be with somebody. You know what I mean? Just like, what's the hold, you know? And I gotta say, in terms of like, I mean, Victor got like two aces in the hole, you know what I'm saying? Like he really got like the best deal out of all of this, you know what I mean? A little creepy at first, I won't lie. I mean, if you put a ring on a random tree and then it just woke up and turned into a bride and just like grabbed you and pulled you into hell, you would be a little bit freaked out too, all right? So I don't judge him for his running away and for his being scared, all right? That's to be expected. But, you know, over time, we see that like he scored a good one, like, and just by chance, right? It wasn't something that he knew was going to happen. It wasn't planned. It was just by a sudden chance he got to, you know, he got to meet a wonderful woman. You know what I mean? And I guess it's the difference between Emily and Victoria is like, with Victoria, I guess it was kind of a matchmaking, or, you know, they were told to be married. They didn't really have time to spend with one another or to really get to know each other a lot. But with Emily, it was just by, you know, creepy coincidence or by chance that he put the ring on her finger. He said his vows perfectly. And this whole new world opened up to him. This whole new life, you know what I mean? Or you know, afterlife, right? I feel like it was a journey that he needed to take to realize that, or to understand what bonds really matter, you know? It matters who you marry. It matters being with somebody who cares and is compassionate and kind. It matters having somebody close to you, you know what I'm saying? And there are definitely doubts on both of their ends, right? Like Victor doesn't want to marry a dead girl, right? Because she's dead, you know what I mean? She doesn't have warm skin and a soft touch. She can't eat or drink food, and he has to, right? Like there's separation there. But then she's so loving and kind, and she really cares about Victor, you know? She really understands him, and they spend such precious moments together. Even though it was one night, you know what I mean? They really understand each other after spending time together and being able to talk to one another and learn about each other. They were able to see that they kind of love each other and they really want to be together. But given circumstances, you know what I mean? It just so happens that there's always going to be something that wedge between them of life and death. Now, the good thing about like this whole night, this whole journey, is not that, you know, obviously Victor and Victoria get married. I don't think that's that's obviously a very beautiful thing, but that's not the big part of it. You know what I mean? It's like, yes, it's good for them, right? But what does it really mean when all is said and done? You know what I'm saying? When the whole movie ends, what do we really gain from it? What do we as the audience pull away from it? You know? We got two different sides of romance, right? We got the life, which is Victoria, and we got the death, which is Emily. And what does that balance show us? What does it really tell us, right? The connection between Victor and Victoria is cute and is very, it definitely is warm, but with Emily, I don't know, dude. They're both great, but I feel like, tragedy aside for Emily, right? If she were living, would she and Victor still be together? And I want to say definitely, a definite yes. If it was like a normal love triangle, I would be like, Victor and Emily. But Victoria is very sweet, and she does really... she also cares about Victor. It's just the circumstances, you know what I'm saying, push them away from each other. I thought Victor dying so that he and Emily could be married, you know, properly, or like, I don't know, in the eyes of death, right? Like I feel like that wasn't a bad thing, or like I thought it was a bit drastic, but I definitely thought like it wasn't crazy, you know? Well, maybe a little bit, but my point being is that I thought him offering himself up to die for Emily was a bit far out there, but it's Emily, you know? And if it was literally just by coincidence that he married her, then I would say do it, you know? But life is important. Life is precious, and living a full life is something that Emily gives to Victor, and that's the overall, I think, message, or the big push, or the joy that I get out of watching it, you know, from when I was a kid. From when I was a kid, I was just like, oh, that's so sweet that she goes off and she flies away and her soul is free, and Victor gets Victoria and they get to be married and be in love and live this life together, you know, until death do them part, you know what I'm saying? And then now that I look at it, I'm just like, the gift of life is so beautiful that you want to find somebody like your Victoria, somebody like Emily, to spend it with, to share it with, to form bonds and connections, and really understand somebody on that romantic level where it's just like you have each other and you can really bond and connect and experience all the good and the bad and the ugly, just because it's life. That's the way that it is, you know what I'm saying? And being okay with the uncertainty that comes after death, or what comes next, you know? Is there anything? Who knows, right? But it's just a matter of, it's just kind of telling ourselves that it's going to be okay, you know? But you gotta take it in. You know what I'm saying? You gotta let it happen. The movie is very soft. It's very gentle. It's not a classic, it's not like a classic horror movie. It's not stylistically that way. And I think Tim Burton does a good job of juggling the softness of it, but also the darkness of the reality. You know what I'm saying? Life is looking so gloomy and so dull, and then you die, and it's like everything brightens up. You know what I'm saying? And then when Emily passes on, it gains color, right? She turns blue like butterflies, right? She's visibly colorful. And when the dead come into our world, there's a bright flash of green and color, and there's a pop to it, and the whole place just brightens up a bit more. There's life in life with death. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I feel like I'm rambling a little too much at this point, but the movie was so... I think this is one of those... These are definitely one of those modern classics that just stands out in my mind as a perfect movie, no matter the time period, right? I'm obviously talking about it now because I watched, because it's the spooky season, it's the Halloween season, but Halloween time, but it's one of those movies that's perfect for... You could watch this in July, you could watch this in January, you could watch this whenever you get the chance to watch it. You know what I'm saying? It is that good. And for that, it makes it a classic for me. It's definitely one of those top tier movies of my childhood, rewatching it. They put a lot of effort into this movie with the claymation, with the style and the clothes and the music. They really put a lot of effort into it, and for it to be a kids movie, I still, and it could be nostalgia, right? Like I have when it comes to movies that I watch, that I saw growing up, I'm really attached to it. I find it to be very important to me, and I there's nostalgia there. There's also I just think that those shows or those movies or whatever, the entertainment I had was so beautiful, so special, so good that that's why everybody keeps on trying to remake stuff, right? It's that's my childhood, and they're just remaking it over and over and over again. And for a new generation, it's it doesn't feel like they're giving them any of the, they're not giving any of the new flavor. You know what I mean? They're keep on using the same recipe over and over and over again because they think that's what's going to work. But time and time again, they realize that the formula isn't 100% perfect, and it's not working out like they expected. But this movie is still a classic to me. It's definitely on par with Coraline in terms of obviously the claymation and the style fit the Halloween theme, and it's very well made in the story, and it's perfect for kids. It's a family friendly movie. It's a great all around film. And I can't. The only words to describe this movie is it's just hauntingly beautiful. You know what I'm saying? It's so uplifting and charming and sweet, and it makes you think about romance. It makes you hopeful. It makes you excited for tomorrow or what's to come in your life. You know what I'm saying? It's not scary to think about, you know, to think about death, I guess. It makes death fun and enjoyable and colorful and, you know, full of music and opportunity and just makes it seem like a not such a scary place, but more of like a, hey, this is what's waiting for you after, you know? There's still stuff that you can enjoy here, right? You know, but that's just me talking out loud. I guess that's kind of what this whole podcast is about, just me talking out loud. On the last note, I think I'll talk about is the love between how quickly you can fall in love, or how in the movie they, you know, obviously everything takes place in one night, in one day per se, you know, 1 or 2 days. I don't remember how long it took, but the first day was with Victoria. They spent a brief moment together. They were able to talk and see kind of the simple kindness that they have. And then the following night or day or whatever, it's Victor's gone and he's spending time with Emily and he's learning about her. She's learning about him. There's a separation between the two of them because he's alive and she's dead, right? But they're able to understand one another. They're able to bond and connect and learn about each other and care about each other, right? And in the end, he's willing to give up his life to be with her, right? And they've only spent one day together, you know, how quickly that love can come from. And it may seem foolish and a bit crazy, but that's love, right? That's how it's supposed to be, or that's what happens when you find somebody you genuinely connect with, when you find somebody that you're able to talk to without, you know, without the pressure of his family or the pressure of, you know, do they like me or do they like me not, right? Like they're already married or they're already like, the romance is already there. You know what I'm saying? Like the romantic connection does not need to be formed when it's already kind of thrown into your relationship, right? And that's why it's kind of difficult, or I mean, not that I'm saying that's the best way to go about it, right? It definitely can build, relationships can build. It doesn't have to all be like all go and all romance and all marriage and stuff, but I do think that in terms of this movie, it goes that their relationship is romantic in its base. You know what I mean? It's not Victoria and Victor having known each other or grown up together and they know everything about one another. It's they've just met and they're going to marry each other because their parents arranged it or whatever. And for Emily, it was just like, it just so happened that he put the ring on her finger and she became his bride. You know what I'm saying? So, in conclusion, I think when you're watching The Corpse Bride, you gotta appreciate love, you gotta appreciate life, and you have to be curious and somewhat, you know, imaginative with death, right? I'm not saying you have to be, you don't have to be excited about it. You don't have to be, death can be very frightening, but this movie makes it makes it seem not so bad, you know? And I think that's the right concept to kind of give kids, or the kind of idea of like, death isn't, you know, doesn't have to be this creepy, terrifying thing. It can kind of be a little bit fun, and it's something natural, you know? So, I don't know. I think that this movie is it has a very special place in my heart, and I really appreciate it. I think it's a classic, and it's definitely it's at the top of definitely an S tier Halloween movie. So, yeah, when you're watching Corpse Bride, appreciate your life, the loves in your life, and, make sure that when you die, you hold them close to your heart. So that way you can know that your life had love in it, and it was beautiful. So yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. I'll talk to you guys all next time. Thank you.